So I am a senior solution strategist at Salesforce. And so my job is to help our customers uh, from a business perspective get value out of the platform. So I help them understand what they could be doing differently and how our technology can help them get better results.
Okay.
So I straddle the line between technology and business. I can talk to the technology side, I can talk to the business side and connect them together and help deliver value.
Okay.
So I've been at Salesforce a little over a year. I've been working remote for almost a little over 4 years. My previous job, I was at a startup doing very much a similar role.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been working from home 4 years, so you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's been a tough transition, and I'm sure for millions of people who did not expect to be working from home. It's weird. Like when I used to work in offices, I would think, wow, that'd be so great to work from home. It'd be so easy. Make your own schedule. Dude, it's a challenge.
It really is.
So then I saw your Facebook post about the things that, how did this come out? You've sent this list to your employees or your colleagues before?
Yeah, so the team I'm on, we've got this little email thread going, and it's just sort of for lack of a better word, a support group, right?
Mm-hmm.
How's it going? How you feeling? Here's some jokes. We did this thing about what my coworker's doing, and it's my coworkers spread peanut butter and jelly all over the window, and stuff like that. And I thought, not a lot of these people have worked from home. Let me pull together my thoughts about this, and I kind of sketched it out. And then what I posted on Facebook was I pulled out some things that were specific to Salesforce, because Salesforce has benefits for working from home that they've opened up to all the employees, which again is just really cool.
I'll tell you that it really resonated with me. I thought it was really good, and I thought this was important to share. So let's just I printed them all out.
I've got a copy right here on my screen.
Okay, good. So do you just want to go with it, or do you? Yeah, why don't you just go with it, and then if I have anything to ask or to add, I'll just go with that.
Absolutely.
What is
okay,
it?
Cool.
And
cool.
Yeah, 10. What is it? 10 things to do when working from home.
Yeah, there you go. It's 10 even. That wasn't the goal, but yeah, 10's a good thing. So so the first one is being very intentional about your work versus your personal. And really, I think in all of these, there's a certain amount of intentionality that needs to happen. You have to be mindful that your worlds are now physically combined into the same space, and you need to find ways to keep them separate so that you just don't become in this cycle of 20 seconds here, 2 minutes here, 10 minutes there, and just get distracted, right?
Which is what I'm doing. I'm ending up, doing a couple minutes here, and then I go make lunch for the kids or what have you. And then I'm doing work until 9, 10, 11 at night with like 20, 30-minute increments here and there that I'm being productive. So that's.
Yeah, and I don't think that's necessarily wrong either, though. I certainly, there are times I go back downstairs to my office at the house and I'll crank out some stuff between 9 and 11 p.m. I'm actually a night owl, so I'm pretty productive during them, during those times. But it's more about the intentionality and how do you make sure it fits within your work style.
Yeah.
And to be clear about how you want it to work, as opposed to just letting the waves roll over you and you're just reacting all the time.
So then how do you, so obviously it happens to you too. How do you overcome that? How do you make sure that you're being intentional? And I mean, are there activities that you do, or you just stop and say, hey, I need to.
Sure.
Well, I mean, how do you overcome that?
Well, I think the other steps here are important pieces of that, right? So If we go to the second one, and it talks about space being important, and say here, as much as possible, set up a separate space where you work. This is really important if you live with other people, but even if you're alone, it's important to have a separate physical space as much as you can. I used to live years ago in a studio apartment. There's nowhere to hide, right? I'm very fortunate that I have a separate room in my basement that is specific for my work. I have a desk, a full, complete setup here. But however you can best manage it, you want to create that space. And so, I have a big family. I have 6 kids. My college kid is home from school. So we actually have 8 working spaces set up in the house. So my college kid is in the playroom next door with a table and he went back to school and got his monitor and keyboard and laptop stand. My wife has always kept her stuff in the bedroom. Then we have on the main floor, we have a room where the 2 high schoolers are. And now our dining room we've set up with a separate space for each of the 3 middle ones, or the younger ones, I mean. So I have 2 first graders, and my wife is brilliant. Patty was so good at this. She got one of those, you know, the science fair, the trifold. Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. Yeah, the science fair fold outs.
Yeah, so those science, she put those up in front of both of the younger kids so they don't have visual distractions. They've got a computer they're working on and space for them to work, and just
like a partition divider.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
So you're getting them used to the cubicle world very early.
Yeah, exactly.
So why do you think that's so important to have a dedicated space? Is it a mindset that I'm traveling to work? Is it a mindset, or why is that so important?
Yeah, I think it's for several reasons. One, it is a mindset, right? You're just physically putting yourself into a different space, and it's just mental to. It's right. But I also think that it's just about productivity. Okay, and just in terms of having a space where you can be productive, as opposed to sitting on the couch or what have you. I think having a place that's tuned for work. So my setup, I have a laptop stand, so you can see that my video is a little higher. You're not looking at me like that.
Right.
It's all at eye level, and I actually have 2 monitors. So I have like a nice panorama here, and then I have a separate keyboard and trackpad, so I'm not on reaching out. I have a good, comfortable chair. I have a desk, and all of that. I'm not worried about the discomfort or the weirdness. It just feels very natural and organic to work.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So until about 30 minutes ago, I had the same setup, where right now we're using my desktop, my iMac, but that was not the intent. The intent was to have my laptop over here.
Yeah.
We were going to do that, but then somebody who will remain nameless, who's 4 years old, smashed the screen of my laptop with a hairbrush about 30 minutes ago. So we're kind of winging it right now, man.
Oh boy.
Oh,
lovely.
Yeah. So hey, I guess I wasn't keeping my spaces separate for the 4-year-old got to it. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, I went for a walk, cool down.
Yeah, that's smart.
So then, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was going to say that. So space is important in terms of keeping that mental space. The other is routine. Trying to start and end at the same time every day. And it's about being intentional. It's not necessarily 9 to 5 with a 1-hour break for lunch. It's just, I'm not a morning person, right? So I'm just starting to ramp up around 9, right? But that's when I start my day. And then I work through. I'll take a lunch at about the same time. I'll take breaks during the day. I'll go upstairs, get a cup of coffee, check in with everybody. But then I come back down and finish here. And then I pretty much have a hard stop every day at 6, so that I can go back upstairs, help out with dinner, bedtime, and everything. And if I've got anything hanging over my head, I can come back down later in the evening.
Yeah, the routine for me, and I think a lot of people, at least from the comments I saw on your face, that's hard, man. It is hard to have a work routine at your home. But yeah, I mean, I can see how beneficial that would be to know, okay, it's 9 o'clock,
right?
Doing this, I'm having lunch at 11:30 or whatever. I mean, just to get in that flow of what you should be doing every day. This post really opened my eyes about that. So thank you for that.
Sure. And then the other part of that is the transition time. And so, if you commute to work, that's a time when you're mentally shifting from non-work to work, and that's gone now, and you have to recognize that. And so part of your routine is transition. And so for me, it's breakfast. I always make breakfast. I actually have almost exactly the same breakfast every day. It's pretty boring. But I'll go through that. I'll go through, I'll read, whether it's online or a book or something like that, and just kind of set myself ready, and then I go and start work. So that transition time, I think, is important. Somebody commented about how one of our Catholic friends talked about how she would always pray the rosary on her commute. Now it's gone, and suddenly she's having to. She's realized that she's lost that in her routine, so she's finding ways to go back and do that. So whatever you did with that time.
I thought, that point was really important. It was very eye-opening to me because that's not something I've ever thought about. And I think a lot of people just take for granted, like, all right, bye, honey, kiss, bye, kids. You get in the car and you drive to work. But that's actually, it's an important part of your day to transition from home, transition, work. But now everything is right here, all mashed together. So I thought that was a great point about transition. And that is something that I would never have thought of. All right, your next one.
So the next two are kind of on the same. It's about the technology, right? Because we're, a lot of us are working from home. Scenario involves video conferencing. So two things. One is get really good headphones, right? And there's lots of options. I have the Apple noise canceling ones, and they work great.
Yep.
I've also had like the big over ear ones. Just make sure they've got a good microphone. Some people just prefer like the one ear with the microphone,
the Britney Spears microphone.
Yeah, exactly. So again, it's a matter of comfort, but find a way to get good tech for that. And the noise canceling, I think, is important, especially if you're in a noisy environment and in a house with 6 kids. It's pretty important.
I've got 3. I think I might just wear the headphones around 24/7.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We've even been doing that with the kids. With when they're doing videos and stuff, since we've got 3 in one room, they need to have them, and so we've got the over ear one so they can focus. So the second is about video conferencing and just good video conferencing setup and etiquette, right? And this is interesting. So when I first started working remote, it was for a startup company based in California of about 50 people. And I was the first, I may not have been the very first, but I was one of the first remote workers. And so the company as a whole hadn't spent much time thinking about how to interact with remote workers. And so there was a lot of training that I had to do with them to make sure that I was being included or on calls. Everybody would be in the room but me, and the meeting would suddenly end and no one would like end the meeting. So you're sitting there on the phone going, what are we done? We're done. Okay. Stuff like that. But 4 years on, I'll say this, video is really important. Video is so much better than audio. And I still see a lot of people not doing video when you're using Zoom or Google Meet or whatever you're using. And I by default will turn it on just to encourage other people to. And then halfway through the meeting, if nobody's doing video, then I'll just. So that's good. Just all the nonverbal communication and what have you is important to that. Lighting's important. Make sure you're not like backlit by a window where you look like a spirit or something.
Yeah, well, I was actually going to touch on that because as a video person, that irritates me. It's like you see somebody looking down their camera like this, looking down the thing like that, and then there's a big window behind them and they're all silhouetted. And I just think it's important for people to know, because it's so easy to fix that, but it's just because your camera lens is trying to compensate for whatever light is in the frame. And so if there's a window behind me that's all lit up, my camera tries to make everything else dark to compensate for that. So then I become a shadow. All you've got to do is turn around and face the window, and then all the light is the same, and then it's nice and clear. It's so simple, but I don't think a lot of people understand that.
Right. So I have dimming lights in this room, and when I'm on a call, if I've got them dimmed down because of the mood I'm in or whatever, I make sure the lights are all turned up and what have you, so that people can see me. My windows are open, get some natural light in and everything.
Yep. And it's just a little, it's just a little more professional. I mean, it just looks a little better for the viewer.
Exactly. And you talked about, staring up the nose or whatever. So get your laptop on a stand. If you don't have a stand, stack up some books.
Yeah, I've got one right over there I was going to pull up, but yeah, or it's up on a box or
Yeah.
books or absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
because then you're looking, this is the worst, man.
I know.
Or
I know.
this.
Yeah. And so people will take their, and I understand sometimes, you want to go on the back porch and take a call or what have you, but you just need to be mindful. If you sit it in your lap, it's not going to be good. So get a
Right.
pillow or something and sit it on the pillow on your lap.
Yeah,
Whatever it takes to get that good angle.
People don't think about that. They're like, oh, I got to have a meeting. I'm going on a Zoom call or whatever. But there's little technical aspects that can make it even better. So I thought that was a really great point, man. Really awesome. Ooh, the next one. It's hard. Very hard.
The next one's hard. Don't work in your PJs. My kids can't stand this one. And I'm not saying you need to get dressed up, right? It's not a suit and tie thing. T-shirt, it's fine, whatever, but just mental, it goes back to that whole mental transition.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're wearing the same clothes you were sleeping in, you're just not signaling to your brain that it's time to focus on work. And for me, I hate shaving, but I do it almost every day just as a signal to myself, just as a routine, as a reminder that I'm trying to care for myself and I'm trying to be at my best.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's just those little signals that you're trying to mentally reinforce, because there's so much gravity pulling you, to the couch in your PJs, just as you roll out of bed, and it's so easy to fall into, and you just have to find ways to remind yourself that's not what you're trying to do.
I think that's one of the biggest things is like, my couch is 25 feet from me right now. That's not how it is when you're working in an office, so it's so much easier to be like, I'm going to put this away and go just chill. I think that's a huge point, because it's really, it sounds so simple, but it's hard to go, all right, I'm going to go take a shower and put clothes on. It's difficult. So I think
it is.
It's another part of intention, having intention with what you're doing and focusing. That's awesome, Davey.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so the next one is a really big one, especially if you have a family or roommates or what have you. So set boundaries with others, and this is a training exercise as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so you make clear to everybody that when you're in your workspace, they should pretend like you're not there, right? And so when I'm in my downstairs office, the door is closed. It's always closed. And if they need me, they will come and knock. And if I don't answer, they'll go away and send me a text. Or sometimes they'll just send a text or what have you. Hey, do you have a minute? And that, it really took a while for all of us to get used to that, because when you're at home, before you were working remote, that's all family time.
Right.
Well, that's not the case now, right? It's not personal time. It's work time. So you just have to work on it, and everyone's going to forget. And even now, someone will just come in and I'm like, hey, I need you. Okay, you're right. Sorry, Dad. I'll check in later.
Yeah. My 1-year-old doesn't quite get it yet, but she'll get there.
Yeah. That's a little different.
I know. I'm waiting for you to see a little brunette toddler head come bounce through here, but she's doing good, hanging in there.
Like that guy from, what was it, CNN?
Yes, that's exactly what I figured. Oh gosh, it was awesome. Get out of here. Go.
I know. That's perfect. All right, so the next one is actually, I think for me, the hardest one, and that's stay connected. And when you're working in an office, you have all of these informal, casual encounters with people that on a both personal and business aspect build up a relationship, right? And when you're not around, you miss those moments. And so you have to find ways to do that, right? And so our company uses Slack, and I try to just pop into people and check in, say, hey, how's it going? What are you working on? And just doing things like that. There's a couple people I have regular video chats with, more my peers or what have you. But you just have to be really intentional about staying connected, because it's so easy to get isolated and to feel disconnected because you are.
Yeah, and actually, I made a note here that I'm starting to do that because it's very foreign to be cut off from the outside world. And like you said, things you take for granted working in an office, people pop in, how you doing? You want to go to lunch? You want to do whatever? Like those are really important times that you just take for granted. And now being home, I have to make the effort to like reach out. And I will say that this is one time when I'm like, thank God for social media. I mean, it's nice to see what people are doing. It's nice to see stories. It's nice to see and be connected with people in that way. Like your post here, and then I commented on it, and then we connected like that. That's really cool,
Yeah, that's awesome.
But so, yeah, I think that's another one I never would have thought of, man. Really great.
Cool. And then the last one is about health. Don't graze. It's so tempting to get up and eat something just to break up your day. Keep the junk food monster at bay. Especially now, we compensate a lot with eating.
Yeah.
I've been on a real health kick the last couple of years, so I have extra reason to stay on track. I don't want to give up all the hard work, but this is actually, you think about it, it's an opportunity. When 100% of your food is coming from within your house, you have a lot more control about your options, and treat yourself where it makes sense, but take advantage of it, and don't use it as an excuse to fall off the health wagon.
Yeah, I actually have the opposite problem, is that I forget to eat. Like I didn't realize I didn't eat until about 1:30 today. I went, man, I didn't have breakfast. I didn't have lunch. So I think there's that side of it too. I think it's all part of intention and the schedule, and just being intentional with what you're doing. And because you can't eat junk all day, and you can't forget to eat. Either way, it's got to be part of your routine. Well, this go ahead.
I'll say this for this last one, I would add to it as well. And it's not just about eating, it's about moving and part of your routine. You should make sure you're taking breaks. You should make sure you're getting up and walking around. My watch pings me every hour to make sure I at least stand up.
Nice.
We had some commenters saying actually a stand-up desk is a great option.
I have one. I love it.
Yeah. And my wife and I have started doing walks, and we even tried yoga this week, just different things to try and stay fit, but doing those again scheduled at the end of the day, but you can do them in the middle of the day if that fits
that works for your schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Is there anything else that you want to talk about, on your mind, on your heart? It's crazy times, dude. Crazy times.
Yeah, it really is. I've just, it's so easy to get caught up in the drama of everything that's going on, and to lose the sense of the positive side of this. And look, nobody wants this, right? But if we're going through this, then let's at least embrace the positive side. My college kid is home. I don't get to see him, and he's been home with us for 3 weeks now, and it's going to be for a few more. That's awesome. That's amazing. I am getting to spend more time with my family. We're doing more things together because my wife and I are trying to be more intentional to build up some interaction with the family, not everybody sit in a corner with their devices and what have you. And it's not perfect.
Yeah, no kidding.
But by no means. But there's a lot of good that can come out of this, and that's totally up to you and your attitude. And again, sounds like a broken record, but being intentional about this stuff.
Well, I think that's the biggest key of all 10 of your steps, is being intentional. Have a plan, have a routine, and then it'll start to fall into place. Otherwise, because that'll erase the chaos that you're feeling. I mean, because there are days when it just feels chaotic in my house, and having a routine and being intentional will help erase that chaos, which I think is so important for mentality for a lot of people. Just feeling out of control, and I don't know when is my next paycheck coming, or what am I going to, there's things you can control and things you can't control. And we have to just focus on the things we can control,
Right. And the better you do that, the more you want to master. It's so when I started on this health kick, after years of really struggling and having dropped 50 pounds now.
Wow, man.
It's
awesome.
like, wow, what else can I now improve myself on? You know, that just seemed insurmountable to me. But having had that success, it just breeds the desire for more success. And that mindset, it's really interesting, just the mindset shift away from being, you know, passively accepting of whatever the situation is into actively engaging to make it better.
Yes.
It just builds on itself.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is there anything else you were thinking about? This has been great, man.
No, I think that's about it.
You're awesome, David. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, you too, man. I'm glad we got to do this.
Yeah, me too. I think it's going to help a lot of people. And
yeah.
And if it doesn't, it was fun talking to you anyway.
Exactly, man. Exactly.